Well, hello, babies. Hi. This is a general message. Well, this is going to be a different message. Let me say that. So ignore my. I was about to go to bed, but I was called to come on and do a message. So we're going to go into it. I'm starting this message at 1911. So we're about to expose some truth. And yeah, so ignore my. I got my sleep stuff on, all right? Just hang in there with me. So I was called because I know there's a lot of people that have experienced the same thing, and it'll kind of, I have a feeling it'll help bring light and healing to the situation. This is like my testimonial of surviving a narcissist. The worst one, at least. I mean, I've had several, but there was one that was just, unforgettable, So let's get into it. Yes. The connection had started as like a welding school, like a couple interactions. And I think that's when he had, initially like picked his victim. And then over time, I ended up getting a job at the shop that he worked at. And so he was like more experienced there. And so we were coworkers. And so since he was like my teacher, that's when the abuse started, I guess, the injection of negativity and stuff like that. And then because he would like have to show me like, hey, like, how do I use this machine, that type of stuff. And he was just, I noticed little things that I completely ignored. Like, it really bothers me when somebody like watches like a piece of trash like fall on the ground and like drift away, and they don't even like try to grab it. Like, that's always been something that like really irked me. And I noticed he did that, and I was like, but I was like, oh, like, whatever. Like, he was very good at acting innocent, that type of thing. But I noticed that I was like, oh, that's such a like selfish thing to do. Like, it was like a blueprint, and it just like rolled away, and he just like watched it, and I was like, you want to get that, dude? Like, it like would have been easy for him to do, but he just didn't do it. But I continued to like ignore the signs, and it turned into a friendship. But he was, since he had a lot of knowledge at the welding shop, he, I'd go to him for advice and stuff like that. And that must have like stroked his ego, of course. And that's kind of where like the pretension began. I noticed like his thing was like being very pretentious. He is a very intelligent person, knows a lot of stuff, but he would like say, I would be like, oh yeah, I like, I think I said I liked the band Pepper, because we were talking about reggae and shit like that. I was like, oh yeah, I like Pepper. Do you like them? And he's like, what, like white music? Like, he just like said it all like put it down. Like, I was like, oh, I really like them. And he was like, oh, like, you like them? Like, really? And so that had began, and, that like planted the seed, because I was unaware of, his intent, or, how to spot this stuff. So I just allowed it to like, I got 717 on my clock. I allowed it to affect me. Like, I wanted to like get more information from him. I'm like, oh, well, like, tell me, like, because he played guitar and stuff like that. So he was very, he was a skilled musician, that type of thing. And so, I would try to learn from him like about music and stuff like that, which I did. But there was always this like pretense, like he had to be above me in some sort of way. And when he was like, it would start out decent, like, a normal conversation, and then he'd be like, like his head would just like grow. It was like a balloon. And I never noticed this. Like I was just like, oh, like he's probably like just really excited to talk about this. But then, you know, in reflection, I was like, oh, his ego was getting completely stroked because, you know, I was like genuinely listening and I was very intrigued. Like I'm always down to like learn something. And so, and my spirit team had, you know, told me this because I had no idea any of this stuff was going on or like awareness of any of it. But like he had been like energetically manipulating me on top of just like verbal, like communication and stuff like that. Like just doing the really you like that, like just like putting down anything that I liked as like it was just because he was more pretentious and like he had better skill or better taste than me, you know. It was always something like that. Like it was he was more intelligent or he was more skilled, better taste, you know. It was always something like there I couldn't have a good, you know, he could give me a compliment but then like bash me at the same time, like or like criticize me. And I didn't catch on to any of that because I was like, I'm definitely open. I'm like, yeah, no, like I definitely could, you know, get better. Like I want to be better. Like that's what I strive for. But my spirit team did inform me that like way after like everything happened, like him getting out of my energy because I was so cloaked and like my clouded that I didn't see the truth. He was energetically manipulating me, so like magic stuff like that. He was doing that, and that like started pretty much when he picked his victim. And I was like informed that it's because of the entities, his entity attachments and stuff like that. Like that gave him the skill to do that, and just, you know, he is a very intelligent person and does a lot of research, so he did a lot of research on a lot of different things. And so anyway, I never caught on to that stuff. And, you know, so it started the energetic manipulation, that type of stuff. And I noticed that if he ever made a mistake and I like pointed it out, because I'm very outspoken, you know, obviously, I'll say it like it is. He had fallen on the ice outside of like, it was, you know, there was like, and I like it was at work and I was joking with him. I'm like, oh yeah, like, you know, whatever, remember when you fell? And he like got like crazy, like embarrassed about it. I was like, dude, like it was ice, like that happens. Like I wasn't, like he could not handle like having that pointed out to him, that mistake, any of that. Like it was like over the top, like his reaction. I was like, oh, okay, like damn, like, and I didn't think anything of it. Again, I was just like, oh, you know, like maybe because I'm a girl or, you know, whatever, or like he was afraid of getting in trouble with the boss or something of the sort. So I just blew it off once again. Like, you know, this is how it happens. Like you got like it's all like clear. Hindsight's always 20/20, you know. It's always clear when you're looking back. And so like all those little things started happening, but we became like closer as friends because we found out like we had similar interests, that type of stuff. And, you know, I fell deeper and deeper under like his spell, his manipulation and all of that. So I was like, oh my God, he's such a good person. Like, I got him like a side job, you know, because I talked him up. Like I love, you know, I'm an advocate. Like I will advocate for people. Like if I think somebody's good, you know, which he is very skilled and, you know, whatever. So like I got him a side job and I was, you know, I went and advocated for him. And that's kind of like when I just like fell deeper and deeper. Like at that time I was like powerlifting like crazy, and my performance did start to slip, but I never like made that connection. And I noticed like my life started to get like more chaotic because like I was getting more intertwined with him. Like we were texting and we would like hang out and stuff like that. Well, like we'd talk more, And we eventually like became roommates with each other. And like it was all just like this. I was thinking like, oh, this is like all good, but I didn't notice that, like, because I was like so strong. I would like pick up those. They're these like really tall gas cylinders of argon, or like CO2 argon mix, different stuff, and they're like really heavy. And I used to like pick them up and like carry them because like I was so strong from powerlifting and stuff, and like that was like my favorite. Like I would be at work like doing physical manual labor and still like have the energy to do that. And I was doing like 2 a days, going twice to the gym to train and stuff like that. Like I had a lot of energy and I felt good and I was strong. And then like my performance started to slip. And then, when we moved in with each other, it got worse and worse. Like, I mean, I was still like lifting and still going, but I was like plateauing. I had a lot of fear when I was lifting. I was having like a lot of anxiety suddenly. Like I would just have like straight up like panic attacks and like have to like leave the gym, stuff like that. Or like it would just completely deplete me to where like it was abnormal. And I just didn't notice any of this stuff. He would, I noticed he was very like stingy with his money and stuff like that. And he would try to, like be late with his rent or something like that, like when we were roommates. And I was like, I just because I had such issues with other bad roommates prior to that, I was like, dude, I'm sorry, like I'm not gonna spot you. No, like you need to pay it now. And so like, but then he would suddenly be able to like have the money, stuff like that. It was very interesting. So it was like seeing what my understanding of that now was seeing what he could get away with, and where my where he needed to tear me down, because like I had a strong will in regard to that. I had confidence in my physical strength, that type of stuff. And I had no idea. I just thought like it was just odd events, none of that. Like I didn't think too much of it because they're so good at hiding, especially if they're like into magic and stuff like that, into like energy manipulation. They're so good at like confusing people, putting that mask over. If you're not aware of it, they're so good at confusing you and like why am I anxious? Like what's going on? Is this just me? Like, I started to like having like just not wanting to go to the gym. Like I felt weak, my performance was slipping, I had anxiety. And when I was training like crazy before him and I got involved, I was working 3 jobs and still lifting, and still training. So, and I was fine. I felt great. Like I'm just a workhorse. Like I have the body to do it. I'm driven by physical work. Like I love working my body and being physical. So like that type of stuff doesn't bother me. Like I'm built for that. And I've always been like that. And it was odd, and I'm like, man, is this like just me getting older? Like what is happening? And then like I started to have like I had depression throughout, like basically since I was a teenager, but like it just seemed more like there, like you go through like sad times and stuff like that, but it was just like in my face, like panic attacks, like losing interest in the gym, which was like I was so proud of myself for doing that and being strong and stuff like that, and that brought me joy. I had anxiety when it came to like welding, and I had all this confidence prior to that about with my skill, and I was just constantly questioning myself and my ability. I'm like, maybe I am like really like slow at learning this, like what? and like maybe I'm not a good well, I was thinking all this stuff, and he never straight out would say you're not good at welding. It was all like this tactical coming at all angles to like, he was very good. Like, I honestly respect the grind, because like I am a very intelligent person. Like, I can pick up on energy. I've always been like that. I can tell when people are lying. I can just like see through the bullshit and catch on to like patterns and stuff really quickly. But with him, like, he was just like, I'm like, it was a decent match. Like, he was a worthy opponent. So I never caught on to like, that's what he was doing. It was very strategically placed things. And I hope this is helping in some way, maybe pointing this out. And then and it's so interesting because he wasn't my type. He wasn't anything like I was attracted to. And so that kind of gave me the inkling, like, now that I know more in like spiritual manipulation, energetic manipulation, he was doing like magic and stuff on me, because like he was not the type I go after. Like, I was like, ugh, like, not, I would never give homie a chance. But that tearing down of my confidence, and just like the constant, like my intelligence, my looks, just my physical body, like all of this, it was just so strategic. And it happened even prior to us coming together. Like, it had just been, he picked his victim and like was in it for the long haul. Like, like stalking, his prey. And honestly, like, as fucked up as it is, like, I respect the grind, like, in a weird way. I'm like, damn, like, homie was patient. Like, I mean, straight demon for sure. Like, to be that psychotic, to like pick someone out and like just want to destroy them, to that extreme, to go through that much effort. He And so like once we got together, I completely quit going to the gym altogether. And then he'd be like, and that's the thing, that it had to have been like energetically that it caused me to stop going, because he never straight out said anything about it, like my physical, but he would gaslight me and say, oh, well, why did you stop going to the gym? And like I gained a ton of weight, and like I have a great metabolism. Like it's really easy for me to like lose weight if I want to and stuff like that. But just whatever energetic shit he was sending at me, draining my life force, all of this, like I gained a ton of like fat. I had a lot of health issues. And this happened like over years, of course, like where it got to a point like I was like almost dying. I couldn't figure out what was wrong with me. Like they were doing all kinds of tests, and like they couldn't figure it out. And that's like how it's like a spiritual thing. Like if they can't figure it out, you need to and you, even if you do have any sort of like health stuff, obviously go see the doctor, but also like get like look up like the spiritual reasoning behind it. Like, see somebody like holistic, or, because both helps. But like they couldn't figure out what was wrong with me. And finally I went to like this functional medicine doctor, and they put me, that I was like basically like it just got worse and worse. I was like, okay, this is ridiculous. Like I was losing so much strength that I had to use my whole body to plug in like just a 110 plug, like a, the charger you'd use for your computer. I had to put like that much, like was happening. All my joints were aching. It was acting like I had like rheumatoid arthritis. Like it was like red. Like I had like straight up like rheumatoid arthritis or like gout or something. It was so weird. I had such pain in my body. And during that time, like, I was having such awful anxiety attacks. Like, I'd go to work, and this was like where, I was really good as a surgical tech, and when I worked in healthcare, like, I was getting paid a lot more than I should have because of my skill. Like, I was able to get, like, I've always been lucky with that. Like, and so I was getting paid very well for how long I had been doing it. Um, and so that's, to me, he was jealous. And so he did everything he could to, like, make me miss work and affect my money in any sort of way, because he would always tell me, oh, like, you're bad with your money. Like, and he would do it, like, it would, and he had tore me down so much that I was like, oh, like, maybe you're right. Like, maybe I am bad with my money. And, I had believed that. And he would, like, make me, like, he was my freaking dad or something. He would make me sit down with him and be like, you need to do your budget and all of this. And, like, I was having money issues, like, but it's because he was doing some energetic shit to me. If I, like, bought anything, like, for myself, he would, like, guilt me, like, to an extreme. He'd be, like, crazy about my, he'd make little slut comments about, like, the amount of money I spent on groceries, like, everything. It was just a constant, like, and it was so insidious that it wasn't straightforward. It was like, oh, you're gonna buy that? Oh, okay. No, it's fine. I was just asking, It would just be like that. And so I never caught on to it, because I'm like, oh, maybe he was just curious. Like, because I would, sometimes I ask like that. Like, it was just so, because he had been watching me and he knew how to mimic my behavior back to me. So I'd be like, oh, okay, like, that's reasonable. Like, I want to give homie a chance. Like, yeah, I could see where, because I try not to pop off. I try not to be, a psychopath. I try to see things from a different perspective, like others' perspective. I try to be empathetic. So, I was just letting this go on for so long, the behavior. And to where, like, I was, like, always in the negative in my account, and he would, like, be living it up. Like, he would buy all this stuff for his motorcycle, and I would be, like, straight up struggling. Like, there was no, like, helping me, like, be on his level. It was like he had to be, like, rub it in my face that he was better with his money and stuff like that, which in fact it was just him doing, like, black magic, energetic work, manipulation, just straight up being selfish, all that stuff. So, that's how he got me stuck, was this fear. For one, I had gained weight. I had terrible acne, like, awful, like, ridiculous. Like, I had never had it that bad before. My hair was thinning, like, and I've always been known, like, people would just, like, I never do anything to my hair or anything like that. And, that was, like, something I was really proud of, was, like, how, like, thick my hair was. Like, people would, like, come at me and be like, oh my God, your hair is amazing. And I'm assuming, because he had witnessed that was, like, something he was going to attack me for, just all of this stuff. Homie was straight up on demon time, like, straight up, like, and everyone thought, like, my friends and everything, like, oh my God, he's so sweet, nice, innocent. It's because he was using magic, like, energetic manipulation. Straight up, the entities that he works with is, possessed by, made him that way. He was straight up on demon time. And I saw him that way as well, even though, like, he would do all these little things. But it's like, the stronger I got, because I'm a very resilient person. Like, and thankfully, because I was like that before, yeah, I fell under the spell, under the manipulation. There's a gnat. I fell under just all the bullshit. Like, and because I wanted to be, understanding and be like, I want to be fair, like, I want to give people a chance, like, all this stuff, I just allowed it to keep happening. So I would bring stuff up, his behavior, I would notice we'd have, like, a really good time where we'd, like, be joking around, because we could have fun. It was great. Like, we had similar senses of humor, we had the same interests, so it was like being with my best friend. So we'd joke around and have like a great night, and then the next day he would just be awful to me. He there was like a time where he wouldn't there was like several months, I want to say like 5 months, where he wouldn't kiss me on the lips. Like I would go to kiss him or something and he would just like pull back and be like, and I'd ask him why, and he's like, oh, I just don't feel like doing that right now. I'm like, okay. I would go to grab his hand or touch him and he'd like withdraw and pull away. And I'm like, well, what's going on? Like, you know, I noticed this is your behavior. And he'd be like, no, nothing's wrong. I just don't feel like doing that. He would like lock himself in a room if I tried to like interact with him. I need alone time. And it was like all, you know, I was being reasonable. I'm like, okay, you know, I get it. Maybe need more alone time. Mind you, I was working 3 jobs, so I wasn't home very much. But if I wanted to like hang out with him or have some sort of like interaction, he would lock himself in his room, you know, or in his little like guitar room or whatever. And I, you know, I didn't realize this was all happening. Like, and so at a point, because I was having such panic attacks and stuff, I started this like online therapy stuff, and the lady was like, well, kind of sounds like there's like a runner-chaser dynamic going on. And like I started defending him. I was like, no, he's such a good guy. Like, he just need, like, and my bitch ass didn't even notice. Like, he's so, no, it's just like, we're just working through stuff. Like, I was just like so under the spell, which is so odd because prior to him, and this is how much he had broken me down. You know, I quit my favorite hobby, like lifting. You know, I quit, like my money was so bad that I had to get rid of one of my dream cars. I had there was just like stuff falling apart. Like I started having like problems with it and it wasn't until like him and I moved in together that I was having problems with my car. I had a Subaru STI, and you know, it was like super badass, lowered, like it was fun. I was a little fuckboy in it. But I didn't have any problems with it until we had moved in with each other, and my money started getting bad, and I was having a hard time like making payments on it, and like it just suddenly got to this point that I needed all this work done on it. I was like, I'm just gonna let it go, like this isn't worth it. And you know, he was like so helpful with me doing that. Like he was like, and it didn't dawn on me that he was like happy that I was, you know, because I was just sad. I was sad to see it go. Like it was like, I always wanted, you know, something fun and fast, but like reasonable that I could drive like still on the road. And, you know, it was fun. It was all-wheel drive, so it made sense. Like it was still reasonable to own it, and like I enjoyed it. But I didn't catch on that he was happy that I was sad to let that go. Because he was jealous, you know, because I had my motorcycle and my car and my truck. And, you know, because I like cars, I like vehicles. That's one of my things. And he was just so happy. Like he was just jumping through all the hoops to help me sell it. And I didn't realize that's what it was. He was like, he wanted me to feel so sad and unempowered that, just like feeling like, I'm assuming like he feels essentially like that's what he felt. He wanted me to feel that way, less than. I had problems with my motorcycle, and he would get mad at me for it. And I'm like, I didn't do anything. Like he would just do anything to try to like get me defensive and be like, why are you acting like this? I'm a very like playful person, and I would, you know, try to be playful, and he would be like, you're being really mean to me right now. And like, which any other person prior to him, I would have been like, you're a fucking pussy. You're done. But he had broken me down so much, had me stuck financially, like basically depending on him to help me, that I just was putting up with it. I was just like, fuck, maybe he's right. Like maybe I am a mean person, an aggressive person. And which, now that I've stepped away from this and like I started like coming back into like who I actually was before all of this, like people enjoy being like when I joke with them, they love it, they enjoy it. So it was just so interesting that he didn't want, like, because that's part of like how I'm charismatic with people, like why people enjoy being around me. It's like I'm fun, I'm funny, like I can turn it, an uncomfortable situation into fun. Like I'm a walking party. I'm really fun. And he didn't like that because I would get attention. People would say nice things to me. So he had to tear me down on any way that he could. And obviously, like knowing his family and stuff, like I can understand like why he's like that to some extent. But still, that doesn't give an excuse. That doesn't, you have free will. And when you're a grown-ass adult, acting like that, you have no other excuse than you're just being lazy. And he would tell me that I like ask for too much in the relationship. I'd be like, hey, I really need physical affection. And he's like, I can't do anything right. And I'd be like, yo, I was just like saying I could use a hug. Like he would go weeks without hugging me, kissing me, that type of stuff. And if I like brought it up, he'd be like, well, I can't do anything right, can I? Like it would just like turn into like a big old fight. But if I like barked back, he would be like, see, this is why I don't, it would always be my fault. It would turn back onto me because if I ever got into an empowered state with him, or I pointed his bullshit out, it would just, obviously like every narcissist, they always got to spin it because it's never their fault. It's never them. They can't take responsibility. Why would they? When you can, for them, for their fault. I treat you that way because you're mean to me. So it was getting to a point like, and I'm a very loyal person in a relationship, and I noticed this is like the signs that kind of like I missed, which I wish I would have like caught on to prior, is, I'm a very loyal person in relationships. I don't look at other people like, I was open, like I would tell people I was in a relationship, that type of stuff. But I found myself like very interested in a lot of different people. Like, and that, now looking back, that was my spirit team be like, hey, that's somebody better. Hello. Because I was like finding like just people attractive and like just like I found myself like flirting with people and stuff like that. And that's not me. That wasn't, and it's because I was so miserable and like, I was getting all the signs to get out. I found myself like listening to like all like songs that were about like breakups and like hurt. And so, and it's so weird because I didn't catch on to it. I'm like, I was just listening to, like I wouldn't listen to happy music. It was all like breakup songs, like just super depressive stuff, like, because that's what I was feeling. Thankfully, it got me like to feel and like process all that shit that was happening to me. So when it came time to leave, like I really didn't have much to work through. I mean, obviously there, like, I'm like, I cannot believe somebody would be such a demon to somebody, but there came a point that I like, my money wasn't good, all of this stuff, but it was like in my face screaming. Like my friend was like, maybe like you should break up. Like, you're not happy. Like if you're finding other people attractive, like that's obvious you're not happy where you are. And I was like, oh, like, what if I just wait? Like he just needs to like figure it out. Like, I need to do this. And I just found myself like getting smaller and smaller. Like, I couldn't just voice any sort of, I couldn't advocate for myself. I couldn't stick up for myself. I had to walk on eggshells with anything I said, which is hilarious because he would be like, oh, I just can't say anything. Everything I do is wrong. You just point out all my flaws, all this stuff. And I was just like, and I'm like, damn, maybe I am a bitch. Like, I was like, fuck, I'm down to be like, because I understand that relationships cause, like, you have to meet people halfway. And, so I was thinking that, like, oh, okay, like, maybe I need to be more, like, I gave him free fucking reign. Like, whatever you want to do, man. Whatever, man. Like, um, I'm, I just let him do whatever. I was like, okay, like, and I was never the jealous type, so I never felt the need to, like, I didn't get jealous if he told me he was, like, going somewhere. I'd be like, okay, have fun, go on. And, it turned out, like, he was fucking around on me, doing all kinds of crazy shit, like, and I just never was jealous. So, like, it was just so weird. But, it got to a point where this is like, hopefully it gives you courage. I literally had, like, no money. I was like, I don't know how I'm gonna make it, but I have to do something. So I told him, like, hey, I'm done, dude. Like, this ain't it. His behavior was becoming more and more apparent. I was just not under his spell anymore. And I noticed, like, ugh, God, you're just an awful person. All you do is talk shit about people when you do the same shit. Like, and I would never say that to him because he couldn't handle any sort of criticism at all. Which was another red flag that I just missed. And I didn't notice any of that stuff because I was just so under the spell, under the manipulation, because everyone around him thinks he's just the greatest person. He's so nice. He's such a good guy. He's so sweet. He was good at putting that act on. So I packed up all his shit. Like, I gave him, like, more than what, like, was his. I was like, do whatever, take whatever you want, like, get the fuck out. So I kicked him out, and he went so easily because I called him out on his shit, and then he told me I was being delusional. It was an argument. Like, he basically did every type of abuse except for physical with me. So, like, the financial abuse, like how I was saying, like, he always had to be, like, above me and, like, control the money, tell me that I was bad at handling my money, that type of stuff. If I bought, like I said, he would bash if I bought anything for myself. It was a problem. It started like an argument or something of the sort. And so the only thing he didn't do was physical, probably because he knew I'd kick his fucking ass. He didn't want to step to this. But what I'm getting at is I finally just got the signs from all of my spirit team. It was through songs. Like, I couldn't avoid it anymore. It was like things on the TV, on YouTube, just everywhere. People would be telling a story, and they would be like exactly what he had done to me. I couldn't avoid it anymore. And I was like, oh, I'm scared because, like, I don't know how I'm gonna make it. Like, but it's because he had put that fear in me, injected all of that bullshit, broke me down to where I thought I wasn't independent when I was that person prior to me ever interacting with him. And it's like I forgot who I was. I moved across the country, all over the country by myself, with going to places that I didn't know anybody, and just, moving around and just like a free spirit. And he, like, broke that in me. He broke it down so much, so insidiously, to where, like, even reflecting now, there's some things that I just, like, how did he do that? And it had to have been, like, through actions or whatever, some sort of energetic manipulation, because I was like, I still don't understand. Like, I'm still recovering from, like, I have a weird thing about the gym now. I have this, like, weird, and it's like I did have a desire to get back into powerlifting again, but it's like this thing that I have to overcome with that. So it's like, there's just some of the things but the signs are there. Like, if you're starting to change, you're not independent, you have that fear, just take the leap of faith. you keep saying, oh, well, I need to wait until my money's right to get them to leave or whatever. Just take the leap of faith, because as soon as I did, my money got right. My money got right. Like, and it was night and day. Like, I have goosebumps all over my body. So creepy how it got night and day difference. And I had more energy. Like, I was like struggling at work, and that was never me. Like, I was doing, 2 hours a day at the gym, working 10 hours, physical labor, manual labor, and still had energy. Like, I was, because I was in my power, I was doing what I enjoyed. And that just got broken down in me. Like, and I allowed it. I take responsibility in that. I allowed it. But now I know, like, I know all the signs. I needed that to see if I ever notice that I'm getting different again, like I'm shifting myself, my interests, that type of thing. I know I need to take responsibility and take the leap of faith. But, for you, if you're in that situation, just take the leap of faith. If you think your money ain't right or whatever, you're worried about your kids or something, take that leap of faith. There's always a way through. Literally, as like a week later, my money was right. Like, shit was just popping through, popping out, showing up, showing out. Like, it was crazy. And, of course, he hacked my phone afterward, because I blocked him, and that pissed him off. Because I was like, dude, we're done. Like, and I told him I wasn't going to talk to him ever again, but he didn't believe me. Because I would let him back in every time. I'd be like, dude, I don't know if I can do this. You're not treating me right. Like, I'm not getting what I need from the relationship. But he would reel me back in with all these promises, his fucking lip service, that greasy salesman bullshit, promises, empty promises. But and so I trained him, into that behavior as well. I take responsibility because I allowed it. And I lost my self-worth there. But, gaining it back and taking that leap of faith, like, my money got right. I felt better. I had more energy. My intuition was, even more strong. And I felt just, even though, like, I was still dealing with, he was in my comments, harassing me, like sending me death threats. I'm like, it was just so apparent, because I had shared with him, like, my fears about, like, YouTube or whatever. I'm like, and it was weird, because it was like I guess my intuition just told me to tell him this. So, like, it was like a weird way of, like, that trickster energy. Because I was like, oh yeah, like, what if I get, like, death threats and stuff? Like, and it was just so on the nose that I knew it was him. Like, I was just like, dude, I'm so embarrassed for you. Like, he was still trying to claw at me and put that fear in me. So I would call him back. But, like, he wouldn't stick up for me. And this is how I knew he couldn't fight for shit, and probably never been in one. Because I was at a group ride, and a guy had parked his motorcycle, like, too close to mine, and we both had high bars. So when I took my bike off the kickstand, my handlebar hit his mirror and scratched a little bit of the paint off of it. And I was like, oh shit. And I just, like, sat there, because, like, I didn't know what to do. And my ex was sitting right next to me on his bike. And this asshole wannabe 1%er biker dude came up to me, and he was like, yeah, you just fucking scratched. Like, he was cussing me out and everything. And I'm just like, and I'm looking over at my ex and his dad. None of them did anything. And they could clearly hear, they were like, oh, we didn't hear what was going on. Dude was yelling at me. And they didn't do anything. They just let the fucking weirdo, which it wasn't even his bike, yell at me. And thankfully the guy that came over, and, like, this is, like, the proof that there's, like, angels everywhere. Like, you're always protected, even in the worst times. The dude it was his bike that I scratched, and I was like, I'm so sorry. Like, do you want me to, like, pay for that? Like, what do you want me to do? And he's like, no. Like, it was my fault. Like, I parked too close, and, like, that's my bad. He's like, it sucks, but he had to, like, tell dude to calm the fuck down, when my partner, and his dad were sitting right there watching me just get, like, this dude was getting crazy on me. He's like, yeah, you fucked his fucking bike up, dude. Like, just going after me. And I'm just like, the fuck is happening? And homie was like, my ex was like, oh, I didn't hear any of it. I'm like, dude, you were right next to me. There's no fucking way you didn't hear any of that. and his dad was on the other side. And so I'm just like, all of those little things I missed, you know, and I was just like, he would never stick up for me. And then he would like make up stories to make himself like sound protective of me. And I'm just like, oh my God, dude. Like, you know, it was all like, it was when the spell was starting to break or whatever. But like, you know, I would go to a concert, we'd go to a concert together, and it was like this band I'd been to desire. It was the Steel Woods. I was like dying to see them. I had been wanting to see them for years, and I just happened to always miss it when they come around. And so it finally happened, and he was just in after the concert, like he was like not enjoying himself, and I was just having the best time of my life, you know, like I was just like, ah, this is amazing, yay, I finally get to see them. And he just like, you know, we would, if we were in a good space, we'd have, you know, a good conversation, like, oh, what did you experience? Like, what did you experience? You know, how was that? Whatever. What do you think of that? And he just was like, oh, like, I was distracted by the people and like he just like killed the vibe. Like he had like to take the wind out of my sails because I had such a good time. And he's like, well, I really didn't. And, you know, all that stuff started to like, that's when it was just obvious because he got arrogant with his behavior. But I will say is like, if you are in that situation, take that leap of faith. You will be rewarded. And the reason why your money's bad, or, you know, whatever is bad, you know, like your housing situation, whatever, it's because you're around that person. That person is purposely doing that to you. So yeah, that's my testimonial. And don't be afraid to speak on that shit. Like, tell people what the fuck's going on. And do not let if you feel disrespected and, you know, you're crying every night, you're just constantly in this like worried state, like, where are we? Like, what did I do? Am I like that much of a dick? Like, you can't be yourself. You can't joke around. Like, I talk harshly. That's just who I am. But I am a really lovey person. I'm big in every way. And I had to get so small because everything I did was bad, aggressive, mean. And that started after he had broke me down about other stuff, like my intelligence, my welding skills, my money, you know, that type of stuff. Because that's what I had to like cling to. And then it was my physical appearance. I smelled. It's funny as fuck because like everyone's like, oh my God, you always smell so good. He was lying to make me feel insecure on every level. It was so weird. So I hope this message helped. You know, it was definitely cathartic for me to expose this, you know, because talk about it, express it, you know, talk to people, get advice from people, you know, there's always a way out. If you tell people what's going on, especially if it's somebody that's been through the same shit and like they did it on their own, I guarantee somebody's willing to help you out because they know what it's like leaving that awful, the grips, the claws of a narcissist, you know, someone with narcissistic behavior, because I can't, you know, say I'm not a professional, so I can't say he's a narcissist, but he has narcissistic behavior. People will help you. There's always somebody there. There's an angel somewhere there. Just like that guy with the bike, you know, he came up and was like, dude, chill out. Like, it was my bad. I parked too close to her. There's always somebody there. There's always somebody to bail you out. As long as you take that leap of faith, it's not going to get any better until you get rid of this shit. And you know damn well that you need to leave. Hopefully this helped you. I thank you all for all your likes and subscribes, and I will look forward to seeing you the next time. Bye.